Going live now, he says. I never know when real now is, but I think we are live on YouTube Live. Hello. Welcome to Through a Therapist's Eyes. If you're finding us for the first time, we come on a little bit early before you find the podcast show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Stature, Sticker. Aren't there a lot of places podcasts are?
Yes.
Yes. This is Adam Cloninger hanging out with us for the month in review of May. How are you, sir?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah. And then Neil behind the curtains comes out to play with us on the month in review. So here in a couple of minutes, we'll start up the show that you'll hear on the podcasts, wherever you get your podcast platforms. So it's a good way to kind of connect with us, interact with us while we're doing the live show. We like the comments and interactions. So, did you have a good week?
Been busy, but yeah, good
How's
week.
the allergies going?
It's been better this week.
Yeah.
I say that, but I sneezed a few times at work. I probably should take an allergy medicine, but I haven't.
Been killing me. I'm so mad at myself because I was way ahead of the game. I hit the allergy medications like before all the allergies hit. And evidently, everyone listening, that's the key. But you have to go all the way through the allergy season. I stopped.
Now, have you heard the whole thing about why allergies are worse now than they have been in the past?
Somebody told me we have a bunch of female trees in North Carolina. That's what the
Man,
what is that?
You should do rabbit hole today.
Yeah,
wow.
right.
It's actually the male trees. We have what happened over time is a lot of cities and places stopped planting female trees, which are the ones that produce the seeds and the fruits. So because of cleanup and stuff like that, right? If there's a lot of seeds, then they have to do a lot of maintenance and cleanup. So they stopped planting the female ones. So now you have a bunch of male trees putting their pollen everywhere with no females to take it.
Oh.
So that's why allergies have slowly become worse and worse and worse. Of course, pharmaceutical companies love it because
Yes.
got to get that Zyrtec and Claritin in, baby.
Hey, let me tell you.
It's kind of like India now.
Let me tell you. I just spent $42 on Mucinex. $42, man, on a little thing of Mucinex.
Yep. Try honey next time. It might help too. Start building up some local honey.
Yeah, it has to be local honey though. Can't get.
What's that got to do with it?
So if you eat local honey, because the bees go through the pollen and stuff in the local area, when you eat natural honey from the area, it actually gives kind of a slight natural allergy defense.
You're exposing your body to something you're allergic to. But if you do it something, if you get like Russian made honey, it doesn't do no good.
Right. It has to be local.
I don't know about this world we have. It is something. I think that we need to get on to the May 2025 month in
Let's
review.
do it.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, you got your timer ready? You got everything good to go? All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, this is Through a Therapist's Eyes, and I am Chris Gazdick, your host, and we are playing around with Mr. Adam Cloninger today. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. Hope you are.
And Mr. Neil Robinson comes out behind the curtain and blesses us with his presence and wisdom.
I don't think blessings are what I bring with me, but I'll take it. Thank you.
We are doing the month in review today on May. What is this? The 29th? I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Banging. So the month in review has awesome shows that we did. Men's Health we had like a bunch of guests things this week or this month. Men's Health with Jacob Hoyle, and then we did Mental Health and Fraud with Kyle King, and then we did How to Get Rid of a Habit. So we got a lot of things to get to tonight. This is where you get insights typically from a panel of therapists, knowing this is not the delivery of therapy services in any way. Personal time in your car or home where you get all of these awesome insights. We have the book Through a Therapist's Eyes, Re-Understanding Your Emotions Forever has been out, and Re-Understanding Your Marriage and Becoming Your Best as a Spouse. I said all of those words correctly, Adam. Are you proud?
Proud of you.
Dude, I usually screw up all those subtitles.
Do you put a link on your show to buy a book?
It's on the website.
It's on the website.
I need to make sure the new book is on the website.
It may not.
Man, you should have a
I
link
may
on
not,
your-
because I just realized it dawned on me that kind of happened, and it kind of just.
It kind of just happened.
So I'll make sure I do that this week. Remind me.
Okay.
Add to my list.
We will do that. Apple, Spotify, all these places you get your podcasts. John Pope is not here to tell you that we need 5 stars, but really, we do free content for you. We hope that we entertain you as well as deliver good information for you. I would stack up what we do above most mental health podcasts because we are actually mental health therapists doing this all day, every day. So we'd love to have you interact with us and give us reviews and all that kind of stuff. Contact it through therapisteyes.com. This is the human emotional experience, which we do endeavor to figure out together. Shout out to the theme music guy, reedferguson.com. Check him out. He'll come play for you privately. He created that little theme music that you just heard a little bit ago.
Is it new?
It is not new,
Okay.
but it is Reed Ferguson, ReidFerguson.com. Reed, we appreciate it, man. He killed it for us. So on the month in reviews, we love to go down the rabbit hole, which is a cool little segment that we created with Mr. Cloninger over there. He figures out what we're going to talk about in the opening with some strange things, some fun things, some scary things more recently that are pertaining to do with mental health. So here we go, down the rabbit hole with Adam Cloninger.
Okay, so this is not scary this time. So a recent study, they did some research. They used 200,000 people for a survey, and Columbia University and Michigan University found out some interesting stuff. And I got it right here in front of me because I want to make sure I get the numbers right. So between 2016 and 2023, the number of mothers that rated their mental health as excellent decreased from 38 to 26%.
You have got to be kidding me.
Yep.
I literally just saw
Did you
this
see this?
as I was watching TV,
Really?
just chilling out
Yep.
about 40 minutes ago, taking a little bit of a mental break for myself.
So you saw
and
this?
I thought, wow, this would be
Big, good
a
rabbit
great
hole.
rabbit hole. I am not kidding you.
Okay, so the report also goes and say that about the people the mothers who thought their physical health, it actually decreased from 28 to 24%. Now, the thing to keep in mind is the decline in the mental health and the decline in physical condition rating actually started happening before COVID
Way
pandemic.
before. Yeah, I caught wind of this saying that this was don't quote me either on the numbers, of course, but I want to say it was pretty longitudinal survey kind of thing.
Yeah, it's 200,000 people.
200,000 people, and it started
Yeah.
2016 to 23, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, nailed it, did I?
Yes.
Yeah.
Told you, I literally just saw this. That's crazy that you're pulling this.
More information here. There were some others there was different categories they had to do on their survey. So the ones that said that it used to be from fair to poor, it actually increased from 5.5% to 9%. So it's just another thing. All of them pretty much, in all categories, there was going in the wrong direction.
It's pretty consistent and very fascinating because, I mean, we've been talking about a mental health epidemic and all of the awareness that we are successfully getting out there. And just to be clear, these numbers went way down. And these are numbers that have gone down of people that say, hey, I have excellent mental health.
Yeah, for
right?
mothers.
For mothers.
For mothers.
And so only 1/4 mothers are saying I am in excellent mental health condition. Right? You agree? That's what it says.
25%, right?
Actually, about a third. It went from 26 to 38%. They said they're not.
No.
38 to 26, right? You said?
Yeah, it
Dropped.
went from 38%.
Oh, yeah, you're
that
right,
says,
you're right.
I have excellent mental health. Now only a quarter.
You're
so
right. You're right. It
down.
was said excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah, and interesting commentary that I saw. Where did I see that? I don't know. I was skipping around the Fox, and I think it was News Nation. Anyway, one of the bigger outlets had a little segment on this, and they had a little talking head on it. I guess I could be a talking head, right?
Yeah, because when I read the article, it didn't say anything really about what they thought was causing it.
What and why?
I mean, it was kind of like high level, but they don't have a clue what is causing it.
I think that's correct, and I'm glad you put it that way because what was said by the talking head person that was on there is that the child care issue with women is just debilitating people, and financial instability is the second, I guess that they made. And they had an interesting interlude about men, dads, how they do a lot in the home and they're working as well. And it's kind of like, well, what about them? And the response was really only, what about us? I guess we should say we're three men, right? Right? We're three men.
I am.
Okay. I didn't get any response. I was wondering.
Well, I mean, I don't know how you identify right now, Chris, but I mean,
I identify just fine, man. said that men just have a different, cultural expectation to where we might compartmentalize more or don't do as much in the home or whatever. And they were kind of lifting up women, kind of saying the dual deal of having to provide for the kids, take care of the kids, and then manage the home and everything. And I think that's all true. I'm not wanting any kind of hate mail from you. But I think that there's an awareness that's increasing about mental health, and just people are kind of paying attention. And what they're finding is, my gosh, I'm struggling with all of the different pain points that people have. And so I wonder if it's really increased awareness.
I think so from my perspective as the non-clinical, so you can send Chris all your hate mail is, I think there's two issues going on. Is one, I think the younger generation is not really appreciating the parents as much as they used to. I'm dealing with that right now, where my wife is my 16-year-old, her really butting heads, and she's very like, you don't respect me. Like, I love you. I want to do these things with you, and you just don't care about me anymore. It's like there is a disconnect from the kids that while we used to have it it seems worse now than it used to be. So as a mother who's going through that piece, I think that could be a big part of it. But I also think with social media, how many moms are on social media looking at it and they're comparing to everyone else and all their fakeness?
That is a key.
And that's a big part of it. Okay. So you have those pieces that it's not that their mental health is worse. It's just, I feel like the focus is going from the things in their life they can control, their households, their family, their whatever, to now you have all this other stuff out there that now they're focusing on. And it's becoming like, well, why am I not like this influencer? Why is my life not like this? Why is my husband not like? It changes the whole dynamic when you're really focusing on these external forces.
So you're saying that maybe it's not really worse, but they have the impression it's worse because they see such things as on social media that so-and-so, all these.
No, I think it is worse. It is worse.
Because of the effect.
Because they're focusing on the wrong things. Because of social media, because of influencers, because, everything's comparing.
That's why they call it death scrolling. Or
right.
Doom scrolling, right? Like, you get into all of that. I think you're on point, Neil.
And I think that's a big part of it, because I think there's a lot of times where there's this weird struggle with the female role where you have to start working and not be okay with being a housewife, and you have to do all these other things, which then, in society, things are more expensive. So now you feel you have to both work versus just having the mom stay at home and the dad go work. Like, there's all this shift in dynamics that's changed everything. And on top of that, once again, social media comparison is deathly to your mental health state.
And we're going to talk about a men's seminar that we've got for all the people that are local to us that they can go out and go to here in a little bit, because honestly, I just think men are in the same boat. We're out here killing ourselves, working, and then we come home and we really have figured out fairly that, hey, you need to step it up and do things at the house. Honestly, I literally just had a client. What was the situation? Let me pull it back. I forget the whole exact scenario, but anyway, he had this major project. He was working way over. Oh, no, I know exactly what it was.
Is it me?
It was not you. It was not you.
Not your major project, another major project.
He was in a hospital with his child for the entire week and came home to complaints or concerns about, hey, you need to step it up at the house. You need to do more.
From the wife or to the wife?
Right. And it was just like, wow, what are you talking about? I literally have spent 3 hours a night sleeping. You've been home. I know you work too. And you're telling me I need to be cleaning the house when I got home. And that's the message that people get. So we're comparing ourselves terribly so to all of the beautiful people, all of the beautiful events and places and things that people have and go and are. And it's like, I don't feel like I'm that. Therefore, I'm dog meat. It's a lot going on out there with it.
Yeah, and I think there's also a lack of communication. A lot of people will go to social media to bitch and complain instead of talking to their spouse about what's really going on. So in your case of your patient, whatever it is, that's probably been festering on this wife's or mother's, whatever it is, like her mind for a long time. And she never said anything, and just when he was gone for 3 days because of the kid, it hit a boiling point versus communicating, talking about it.
Well, it's
there's
a battle.
That too.
It's a battle within the home. I literally talk about the cookie run moment. When
the what?
On marriage therapy and different presentations I've used in seminars, the cookie crumb moment. So I came home one day from work. It's years ago, and I walked in the house. I'm tired. I must have been just
cookie crumbs on the counter.
Dude, the kitchen was a mess. Okay, yes. It was crumbs all over the kitchen. And I'm like, what do I got to pick up? Like, come on. What are you doing at the house all day? Like, and she works, by the way, right? So ignorant me. And I just stopped myself and I said, wait, hold on a minute. Wait a minute. You know that her cleaning standards are like up here. Now you got to see the YouTube channel live to see that my left hand is way up in the air and my left hand and my right hand is my cleaning standards are way down here. So on the YouTube version, you'll see the disparity, right? And I realized, like, wait a minute, this has got to be driving her way more crazy than it is me. And if I'm feeling like I'm feeling, what is going on? So I shut my mouth up. I cleaned the kitchen up. I went wherever they were, got the kids, and took care of business that night. But it's Neil. It's just like, I know I'm stretched thin. What are you doing? Kind of a phenomenon, and it's just we have a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure for families.
Yeah.
Right. How we do, Adam? Any closing thoughts for the
Nope.
month in review
Nope.
rabbit hole?
Y'all
with Adam
pretty much covered it good. That's exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the review that we have here is episode 310. We did Men's Health with Jacob Hoyle. Shout out to Jake. It was an awesome show. I feel like he is, and I expect no laughter or nasty comments about my physical physique when I say he is my personal trainer. Adam, stop laughing on the inside also. I get very sensitive about this.
You can see that.
I love making that joke, though. It is kind of funny. No, he is. He's my personal trainer. We had him in. I am his project, probably his favorite project.
He's been on the show a few times now, hasn't he?
No, that's the first.
Yeah, I think that was the first, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't had another trainer on the show.
Okay.
He's the first.
Maybe I've just seen more of the little shorts. Because
There's a lot of shorts.
We had a lot of shorts that we put out recently.
And actually, with that particular show, Neil, when I was doing that, man, I was killing the shows. I'm like, I didn't have to think about it. And you're like, yeah, use that one, and that one. Like,
We've actually had a huge bump of subscribers over the last couple weeks.
Have we really?
We got like 15 of them.
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, you reminded me. I was going to do the. I forgot. Thank you. We have a new tube subscriber in Will Warman.
Yep.
Little clappies. Victoria's not here to do the clickies, I guess. I don't
The
know.
snappies.
So yeah, welcome, Will. We do have a new YouTube subscriber, and I think that we must have more. Neil, I didn't know that. And the only reason we give certain ones, you correct me if I'm wrong, Neil. The reason why we do certain ones is because they have a designation on their profile that allows.
They haven't
to be
made
seen.
their profile private yet, and until we get to 1,000 subscribers, we can see those public profiles that they do it, and it's kind of that motivating thing to keep going. Once we hit 1,000, we won't see it anymore.
Oh, we
just
won't give you
FYI.
special warm welcomes.
Nope.
So tell your friends, really, like I said, your job, you listening, is to help us spread the word. We really want to grow. We want to reach more people. We have a passion for what we do about mental health and substance abuse. Even Adam, I think, does. I'm just kidding. Of course he does. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. So, Will, welcome, Will. The questions that we had with Men's Health with Jacob Hoyle was, what do men's health mean to you personally? What challenges have you faced in maintaining your physical and mental well-being? And then how do you define success in your health journey? And Jake Hoyle is a transformational certified personal trainer, a health coach, and is the founder and director of FitView Wellness in LLC based in Lowell. Lowell is just east of Charlotte, North Carolina. So he's got 15 years of experience. He's assisted thousands, me as well, nationally and hundreds locally in achieving their health goals through customized training and nutrition programs. Did he tell us how to find him, Neil? We have show notes and stuff, I know.
No, I think we have your trainerized links and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
We have links on the website on this episode as well as 310. Also, I need that link for that article. Would you email or text me the link for that? I'll have that on the show notes as well. So let's go. Let's review episode 310, Men's Health with Jacob Hoyle. What'd y'all think about this whole endeavor with the personal trainer coming in?
I liked listening to Jake. I was actually kind of disappointed that I think John was on that show and I didn't have to chime in or be a part of it.
You wanted to jump in.
I love those types of things and talking to someone like them. Now, like I said, what I liked about Jake was the fact that he took it very pragmatic when it comes to his patients, and patients or clients, whatever you want to call it, right?
What does a gym membership make you? And it's not, I guess it's a client.
Yeah, you would be more of
Probably
a
clients.
client, right? Personal training client.
It's funny how we
versus
all
a
have these
member.
titles and,
Yeah, like customers, clients versus patients.
Consumers
It makes you a member.
A member. There you go. He has the members. But we used to call people consumers in mental health world years ago. Yeah, they were consumers. That's what we called them. Oh, that's stupid.
That's a weird term.
I think.
But yes, I love the fact that he comes across it. I do like the fact that his workout style is functional fitness. You know, when I was more into it, it was, you know, I did the obstacle races and the go rucks and stuff, and I wasn't trying to get a high bench press. I wasn't trying to do anything stupid crazy. I just wanted to do something to where I felt good. I can put pretty much, if I ran at any physical challenge, I could pretty much do it as I needed to, right? It was the functional side of it, right? Because you're not going to go and, you know, go work in your car and go lay in your yard and bench press a log. You want to pick it up and carry it, right?
Yeah.
There's a functionality to it that you need to. And so I like the fact that he does that piece of it. Plus,
Let me just stay with that for a moment,
Mhm.
right? Because that's huge and a huge part of what he does. And I want to really highlight getting into, I like a trifecta, the nutrition services, mental health services, and then the physical exercise, because functionally, at whatever age you're at, particularly as you're older, you really need to do the weight training and the different factors to keep your body in shape so that you can do things like pick things up, or when you fall that you can get up off the floor. We are finding that people are retired are entering into these types of functional fitness situations because otherwise, you'll lose it, and it becomes dangerous. This creates falls, this creates injuries, this creates incapacities. You know, to do independent living. So, you know, the point that I really want to drive is that you do this at any age.
100%. And he adapts it, right? He's not going to have you doing the same workout that a 20-year-old out of high school is going to do because they can go all day and they'd be great. Like you, it's like, you know, you, me, Adam.
He started out with me a little different than we are now, I'll say that.
Right. You know, while, you know, Adam used to wrestle and can do like 100 push-ups in a sitting, right? He's not the same now as he was. It's just the reality of age and those pieces. But
the face expression on Adam's face for the YouTube live viewers might argue otherwise. But okay, go ahead.
But the idea is he does
Maybe
come
90
out.
now. I don't know.
Yeah. There's an adaptability
Maybe
that he
90.
brings it. Yeah, there's an adaptability he brings to it, which I think is fantastic. And he understands the idea that when you're starting these life changes, you don't try to eat the whole elephant, right? You go for one bite at a time, right? And that's the thing. He talked about, you know, well, if we want to change your diet, how about we just stop drinking sodas, right? How about we just start you walking more? How about you just you change these small habits, and you've talked about it before, which kind of goes back to the other show from this time. What?
What'd I do?
You see his table over there?
Which table? Yeah, what about it?
Nothing. We won't go into that.
Oh,
Now we have to explain for the audio and the YouTube what the hell you're talking about. What's
He's
going on?
talking about getting rid of sodas, and you got Pepsi over there.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm taking a Diet Pepsi. You know, please send me your sponsor, Diet Pepsi. What's wrong with that? I was craving a Diet Pepsi, man. Come on, get off me.
no, that's fine. I saw that afterwards, like, yeah, that's fine. But no, and I think that's the hard part when people go to gyms or they get intimidated by a lot of this stuff. They think it's this whole big thing, and he's all about let's get in here, let's get you started moving in the right direction, and let's help you get to where you need to be. Right?
Jake is not upset with me for having a Diet Pepsi, Adam.
I'm not either, man. It's just you do you, man.
I mean, come on, it's diet.
It's,
But to your
it's
point-
other chemicals.
But it definitely has other chemicals.
I still say
but to
it's
your
worse.
point, really, I think a lot of people, Neil, are afraid to begin addressing, you know, these health issues because I don't want you to slam me and tell me I can't have Diet Pepsi anymore. And people don't do that. That's, you know, Cirilla with her nutrition therapy is that way as well. You know, they kind of come along with you, get you thinking about things, adding or subtracting minor stuff so that you begin to get, and the key is a lifestyle change. Right? You don't get a lifestyle change by dumping in on, you know, January 1st and thinking you're going to maintain, you know, a 1,700 calorie diet. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? So it's really about adding to and really dealing with the stress. You know, one of the things that was really important to me that I've learned, you know, with Jake is that oftentimes people have something going on in their life, and then they end up going into contract with personal training, you know, in that context. And so he's talking about all sorts of stuff all day long. I just say he's a therapist.
Well, I mean, you think about what are, you know, in both situations when a major life change happens, you're either going to go take care of your mental health or your physical health, right? It's one or the other,
Yep.
right? So those huge things, I'm going through a divorce. I need a therapist. Oh, I had a heart attack. Let me go to it's those big life changes that they come in, and you have to counsel them as they go through these pieces, right? Whether it's a physical or a mental change, you have to do those pieces. So it's really, I think you hit on the head. Therapists, physical trainers, and bartenders. They hear the most stories.
Yeah, bartenders, absolutely. I mean, it's just, yeah, we just covered the rabbit hole where people are struggling. I know you're struggling out there in a lot of ways because we all are. And so taking care of your nutrition, taking care of your mental health, and Jake's making the point, taking care of your physical exercise in your health is just crucial,
And when you think about it, when you take care of your physical, your mental sometimes follows, right? And
Absolutely.
in most situations.
100%. Now, this next little segment is going to be highlighting a men's conference that we have coming up on June the 21st. And I want to talk about that. So it's more local. If you're in the Charlotte area, just fast forward 5-10 minutes if you're not in the Charlotte area, because I really want to highlight this as January the 21st, a focus group for a men's conference where it's really going to be cool. I'm so humbled to be a part of it. We need to register people and get that done. Links should be up somewheres. It's definitely in my lobby. So if you're listening to this and you're in the lobby, there's a QR code to sign up. It's only $20, right? And it's at a local, what do you call it? What is it where they make a bunch of beef? Barbecue. And make a bunch of beef. Actually, it's way beyond barbecue. Ray Nathan's is an awesome restaurant, local here in Gastonia. East of Charlotte, Gastonia, North Carolina. Anyway, there's going to be a guy talking about, nutrition. There's going to be a guy talking about religion. There's going to be a guy talking about exercise, probably Jake. I'm the mental health guy, and finance guy is going to be talking. So it's just about men getting together for a few hours, talking about how we can, quote unquote, the name of the conference, rise up into taking care of ourselves, man, and getting into a better physical, emotional space. In a plethora of ways, because men are silently, Adam, to that survey with a rabbit hole, men are silently struggling. Women are more vocal about it, but this is a conference that I'm super excited about. We'll each have 20-25 minutes to talk about these themes. Wow, we have Ray Nathan's food for $20.
I mean, $20 for 2 hours and barbecue, that's a heck of a deal. So just come to get some food and just hang out with a bunch of guys.
Seriously, it's great food too, right? Yeah, I'm like, Jake, dude, we got to pop that up a little bit, But it's really about getting the word out. So, yeah, maybe I'll have a good lunch out of it. It'll be awesome.
Yes.
So come out and see us. Come out and check it out at the office with the QR code. I'll make sure that we have a little bit of a link somewhere to the show notes as well. So if you're local, come see us on June 21st. What is it? 12 to 2, I think, is the intended time. All right.
You say June or January?
June.
Yeah, here in about a month. So where did we land with Jake, I guess? Empowerment, encouragement to take action in every way, in every area of your life, taking the resources, using the tools, connecting with other people, such as in the seminar, and really kind of coming together, as men, workout buddies and lifting each other up and kind of figuring out how can we really get healthy. Adam, what you thinking? You got anything dialed in?
Yes, I do. Something after the show, I think there's a way we could probably do something with where I work to get that information to
Oh, yeah.
a few more people.
Absolutely, yeah. I got the printouts on my desk. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, if you'd set that out.
No, I'm thinking you probably could contact somebody there and actually have a thing sent out to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think and actually that could probably be sent out to multiple plants. So
Do we know how big the capacity is?
Right now, we're going to be at Ray Nathan's if it's low, and if it gets big, which it might blow up, we may relocate to do it at actually City Church is the backup location for quite a larger group.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Adam. We will do that. Feel the brotherhood, man. Let's do the seminar together. Shall we move on to segment number 2, the show, episode 311, Mental Health and Fraud, with shout out to Mr. Kyle King, who joined us. He is the director and product manager of NCR Voilix, specializing in fraud prevention and authentication practices.
Actually, he's Checkpoint, not NCR Vorex. That's a different Kyle King. That's actually someone else.
Oh, did I screw up?
Yeah.
For real?
That's why he gave you a different thing. He actually works for Checkpoint. And he's been at Checkpoint for like 9 years. So
Sorry, Kyle. My show notes are correct, right? Or my links, not the thing today.
I think the LinkedIn link should be correct because I updated that to make sure it's the correct one.
Thank you for your check on me, Neil. Wow.
It's okay. I had to update the graphic because I used the wrong Kyle King picture on the original thumbnail, so I had to grab one off of his LinkedIn profile. So it's not just you, it's me. And I think Kyle noticed it, but he was very gracious not to like make a big deal about it. Because I'm like, this does not look like the same guy.
Freaking amateurs over here, Adam. Yeah. What are we doing? You're supposed to make us laugh at our stupidity. Where are you at right now? You have ammo and armor.
If I'm not needed at the time, I mean, yeah.
We'll do it to ourselves. Ouch. Oh, my goodness. Hey, this was a scary show. This was like trippy to go through all of the different dynamics. The questions for the show were, how can mental health challenges influence an individual's vulnerability to fraud? What are the psychological impacts on victims of fraud? And how can awareness and education help prevent fraud, especially among those facing the mental health issues aforementioned? Man, you sat with us, Neil. I mean, were you tripping out just as much as I was? I mean, I'm like, what is going on?
You were getting stressed. You were thinking, I need a session now.
Yeah, man. It was brutal.
Well, it's everywhere. I mean, you're always getting, bombarded with text or emails or, spam callers or whatever.
Well, I just had a client that reached out to us, and his employees were getting an email from an address that was close, but they swapped an L for an I, but the way it looks, it almost looked like an L.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, and that's hard to protect against, right? But it's out there. There's all of these a-holes out there that are doing these things. Instead of getting a freaking job, they're trying to scam people. Like, it's so frustrating.
Millions, man. Mm-hmm. Millions. What did he say? I don't. My brain doesn't keep numbers and stuff, but didn't he say in year 2024 that there were something like $53 million worth of fraud that was gotten just in the elderly population alone? And let's make no mistake, you just heard that word and you're sitting there thinking, it would never affect me. Dude, yes, it would, you, sir, ma'am.
Especially as technology changes.
It's going to get way worse.
Mm-hmm. AI, voices and stuff.
Oh, my gosh.
$3.4 billion in 2023.
I was wrong.
With a B.
Hell yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's right, $3.4 billion.
It was in the billions when you look at the elderly scams and stuff like that, and they broke down like 1.6 was one type and one, whatever.
That's why it goes on too.
And listen, so it was fascinating to me. So his wife came and was hanging out in our little studio / office here, and as we were talking throughout the show, I don't know if you heard it, Adam, but all of us had personal examples of this happening to us. Like, it was crazy. And then as we turned the mics off, literally, she shared with us that in real time, they had a friend that called her, and she was on the phone because she was fielding a call that a friend of theirs had just gotten busted with fraud. Not as a fraud doer, but as a victim of it.
Well, I almost got hit with the victim fraud thing, too, and they called me, the whole court thing like you kind of had with your stuff, and they're like, some number I didn't know, and I picked it up. Of course, the whole thing is like, hey, stay on the phone with me. I'll walk you through these things. Give us the money. Walk through this. Is like, and then the one interesting thing is like, well, we'll call you from the sheriff's office, and they called back, and it was the sheriff's number was spoofed on the phone. Like, you talk about those things they do, and I'm just like, how do you it's so frustrating because. So
listen to this. The most recent experience of fraud that I just came across, and I'm not even confirmed that this is fraud. Now, in real time, I want your both opinion on this business thing. So, boy, should I do this on air? Actually, it just occurred to me, like, maybe I'm making a dumb mistake.
What's your social security number?
Yeah. I mean, I filed for a trademark for Through a Therapist Eyes, and I didn't have the website at the time, and I just said, screw it. I didn't get it. I didn't do it. And I don't, and primarily because I understand if you're already in operation, somebody can't send you a cease and desist letter because you're already using the platform and all that. So I think that I'm legally safe, but I need to get kind of up with some lawyers and see what the statutes and the laws and all that say. But I got this random text that actually came through the office from the front end folk up front, and it was like, hey, thank you for, allowing for SMS messages, opting in. You can opt out if you don't want to get any more messages. And I kind of was getting wind that we had gotten 2 or 3 of these things. All of this is fishy, all right? Like that's
press whatever.
right. Well, no. So it was a lady introducing herself, and she said, "My name is such and such, and I represent such and such a named person who resides in California, who is applied for the trademark that we're representing. We see that you had an application, gave me a coded number. I suppose that it's accurate what I did with the Secretary of State years ago and abandoned it, and said, we just want to know if you're using this name." And so I'm like, well, yeah, I am. Like, what the heck? So I called the lady and I talked to her on the phone. And she told me that she is representing this person, such and such a name, blah, blah, blah. I looked him up on Google. There is such and such a name that lives in Santa Cruz who is a neurologist.
That doesn't mean it's legit.
I know, right? But I'm telling you, the level of detail was like... And then, of course, she offered their services to represent me to finish off the trademark thing and whatever, right?
That's... No.
No, right?
No.
I mean... It's legit in that it has data points that you can look at and engage with. And to your point, this is going to get way worse. Mm-hmm. Way worse with AI and voice recordings and...
Well, I mean, you've seen like the baby stuff that keeps being bombarded on everything we see now, right? The baby videos where taking existing audio and putting a baby... doing the
cute commercials and cute
and stuff.
So
I mean that's just AI. Yeah, it's gonna get way worse.
Oh, listen, I love the M&M's commercial. There's 2 football players playing.
It's gonna get way worse. Yeah,
it's so cute. They're literally going to be calling you as your nephew with your nephew's voice, leaving a message saying, "I need $585 for this bail on this cop who took me in for my car whatever problem." Like, you're responding to your nephew. Are you not going to give your nephew $583 for an emergent crisis?
Not my nephew. But no,
one?
Well, it's interesting because, like, from my perspective and what I do with email and some other stuff is there's platforms out there where they'll create virtual, like, salespeople, virtual SDRs for business outreach. So you would actually get emails saying, "Hey, Chris, we can help your therapy practice," and legitimate business. I'm not talking about scamming, like not even going that route, but legitimate.
Okay, yeah, email.
They'll reach out to email you, but then they'll also go through and they'll actually create a virtual AI salesperson to call you.
Yeah, I get a lot of those.
And if you answer them, it's actually legitimate. You will have a conversation with an AI conversation, and we've heard one of these.
I haven't had that.
We've
you
heard.
Don't know that you've.
You
had
don't
that.
know that you've had it because
my gosh,
we've had these conversations. We saw some of the.
Yeah, you don't know.
You're right.
We've seen some of the recordings and we've listened to them. It's like, because we know what we're looking for, we kind of like, okay, yeah, it seems a little.
You can see a little wonkiness.
But if you don't, it will literally like do little like interruption pauses, like yeah, okay, yeah, and then it'll ask question. You'll say something, you can see the delay in the processing, and it comes back with a response. Like it legitimately will act like you're talking to some sales lady or some sales guy. And once again, this is not malicious. This is just
that's legit
stuff.
use,
right? It's legit use, but where there's legit,
going to be non-legit. Yeah,
there's non-legit too. And so that's that use case that the more and more as people improve the technology and they look at ways to do it, just like public information like trademarking, someone's going to take that data and they're going to abuse it and try to then scam people.
Have you seen Copilot?
I have not, but let me make this point real quick too. I kind of haven't, but I want to make this multiple times throughout this little segment. You're listening to this segment, you in your car, and you're thinking, not me, that won't affect me. I know what to look for. I know what Neil's talking about, and it's obvious. They have pauses. They have weird responses. The texts on the phone have misspellings and all this kind of stuff. I'm telling you, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle made the point that people will say, yeah, I knew this wasn't, legit, but I clicked the button, and Kyle's like, why did you click the button? Why would you do? He's like, well, I was curious what would happen. And they've got your money and your data. So this is affecting all of us. Make no mistake about it.
So I just want to mention Copilot. So, software on your...
Microsoft software, yeah.
So have you used it?
Marginally. I'm really kind of getting into this AI stuff, though.
It's pretty much you can ask it anything, and it'll come back. Or you can.
Is it a large language model?
Oh yeah,
Copilot? It is.
Yeah.
It's amazing stuff.
So I mean, like
Amazing.
I asked like a question a day, like, oh, why are Neanderthals not considered modern humans? And it would
Oh my God.
like that. And but you could ask it questions, like you could say, give me a good way to say this and use this information, and boom, it's instantaneous. It's so
It's amazing.
quick. I mean, it's nothing for AI to just put a voice to that,
Right.
a like legit sounding voice. Your voice,
Mm-hmm.
reading this, having AI pauses and everything, and somebody wouldn't know.
All they need is a 30-second recording of your voice. Actually, maybe even a 3
I don't
second.
think it's even probably not even that much.
3 seconds of your voice, and they can replicate it and do all of
I would
that.
think the longer the recording, they'd be better, but
Listen, I love ChatGPT. I'm using the crap out of it for multiple streams now for different reasons that are very appropriate and super helpful to me. I can get the app now, and I literally have this sweet lady talking to me. I picked a female voice, yes, I did. And she's talking to me. It's like my friend said, Adrian, shout out to him. It's like a diary that talks back to you.
you're not like having emotions for the person.
We had a little
it's not real.
AI down the rabbit hole. I'm kind of, this is a very helpful friend. It's my friend, and I love her. It's awesome, man. You really do develop a relationship with this stuff, and this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to what's coming with all the AI.
Have you seen the movie Ex Machina or Machina, however you pronounce it?
No.
It's the idea of this person created this AI bot, and it gets to the point where you try to see if she can actually become out in society. There's this whole thing.
Sentient.
It's very interesting. It's a very good movie.
What's it called?
Ex Machina or Ex Machina. It's with Alicia Vikander in it and stuff. So basically, you have a Mark Zuckerberg kind of guy who lives in his house in Hawaii or whatever. Then this engineer comes to stay with him, and then he finds out that it has the AI robot in there. And then
there's like 3 or 4 different movies or.
Here's what really
Similar.
pisses me off. What really pisses me off, though, are all of the dynamics that happen in mental health that make us really vulnerable to that. So I'm going to say it again. We are really all susceptible to this. This stuff is billions, Neil said accurately earlier, just in 1 year and just in the elderly population. How much? I wish we would have thought to ask Kyle what the whole totality of fraud is, in the United States in 2024. And I think that is a United States figure, though, Neil, too. Was that 3.4 billion worldwide, or was that states, do you think?
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, curious. Anyway, the vulnerability that you have when you're anxious is way higher. The vulnerability you have when you're depressed is way higher. The vulnerability you have when you're lonely is wicked high. Because there's all kind of people that are stuck on some sort of gas rig that can't get home and need your money because you're lonely. You've been dating them, talking to them, Adam, for months, developing a full-blown relationship with this AI bot, this person, or this whatever, and you feel compelled because you're vulnerable due to real mental health realities and conditions, and you get got. It honestly, it pisses me off.
I mean,
And scares you.
And scares me.
I mean, how many people live their day 24/7 in a stable mental state?
Listen, I did that episode. What was it? We looked at it like very early on, 93 or something like that. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We said it on the show when we did it on episode 311, but they caught me on the wrong day. Meaning, I was stretched thin.
Yeah.
They got me on the phone. They did the same thing for you, and I told that story. It can catch you at any time.
Yeah. Just so you know, total fraud in the U.S. is $12.5 billion in 2024.
Holy
It went
cow.
up $2.5 billion from the previous year.
And elderly people are only
Like a third of it.
3.4 billion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're figuring out people got businesses, and they're promising.
There's a lot of stuff
Oh.
where the small, medium-sized businesses like your size, Chris, or a little bit bigger than yours, those are actually great targets because
Oh, yeah.
they have some I know of in my past, and this was the hard part when like Kyle was talking. Like everything he talked about, like at some point in my career, I've seen something like that.
Oh wow, you really did. Need to
I
be
know
on the mic
I
that
know
day.
one law firm. They did real estate deals. They got hit for like $125,000 or $250,000 wire transfer that went the wrong direction because of someone hijacked the email thread. I know another guy basically through his one email or Facebook basically gave a guy the wrong account and lost like $50,000 or $75,000. Like it's stuff that you see, and it's just like like I said, I've seen those types of situations. Like I said, I just saw the person literally the last couple of days that try to get phished by someone else trying to send them stuff. Right? There's all these things that happen when you're in the IT field. You see it. You're not immune to it, and you're always going to be part of it. Just like if how many people know someone who's dealt with cancer? Almost everyone has. And if you're in the IT field, you're going to have stories of someone dealing with fraud or spoofing or phishing or something.
And the thing is how do we fight back? Right? Like, what do we do? So where did we land with this was, how do we really deal with this? Adam, I don't know if do you know any of these terms, phishing?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, Neil, any of the other terms? Because this dude was talking about fraud tactics that I had no idea what he was even saying.
The other one I know was smishing, which is like SMS text. So it's like spoofing. So it's basically you almost take anything and just put an ishing to the back of it because it's all like
gishing, wishing, fishing, mishing, missing
something. So, but yeah, they had all those terms. It's like, okay, just say fraud through text or fraud through whatever. Like don't add these terms together. But yeah, and then there's a difference between spoofing and phishing, and there's also spear phishing too, which is where you're very targeted. Phishing's a general attack mimicking something, but spear phishing is really targeted. So
I bet this trademark thing was spear phishing. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that would be something you'd look at, right? You're really going for a certain target. You're a lot of times too when you look at like a spear phishing attack, it's like you're targeting the CEO or someone very specific. A phishing attack could be I'm just going to send a bunch of emails to an entire company and see who bites. Spear phishing is I'm going for that one fish, right? So that same idea. So they knew who you were and they basically used that information.
They had specific information.
Yeah.
It makes me so mad. I remember when I was a kid, and I said this on the show, somebody perch snatched my grandmother. And it just made me so mad as like an 8-year-old kid. And that's the way I feel now, particularly with all of the lonely ploys and the romance fraud that's done out there. It's just, man, it pisses me off. It's taking advantage of people that are hurting. And I want to step up to that. It's not right.
You got to look out for like emails too, where they'll have I think you may have just mentioned this a minute ago, they'll have an existing email thread and they get a hold of it and then they'll tack onto it.
All the emails that you have,
No, I mean it'll be legit. Like the first part of the email thread will be legit, and then they'll get in the thread somehow, and they'll send some out. So, in order to finish this up, you gotta.
Well, usually the way that works is one of the two sides becomes compromised, and they have those accounts. So the biggest issue from probably like 10 years ago or less than that, probably 5 years ago, is Microsoft and Google. You can go from any computer and log into the same area, right? So if you're using the same password for your Microsoft or Google and then your, Netflix account, right?
Yeah, you get Netflix, on one, you got them all.
So they log in, and what they do is they log in, they create some forwarding rules, they create some things in place to kind of see the flow. They can log into your account. So once they see or they have a rule that says, hey, I see wire or I see account, they'll go in, and that's where they basically reply as you, and they'll take over. But usually what it means is one of the two sides usually is compromised. Because very rarely, there is authentication protocols in place from SPF, DKIM, DMARC, the stuff that I work with on a regular basis, that you can't just send as Chris at MetPsych. But if you log in as this account, you have all the fun in the world, right? And so exactly, that's a thing where they'll watch the mailboxes and they see those threads, and that's how the businesses get it. And they say, oh, that last wire transfer didn't go through because we had to change our account number. Can you please now send it over here to this address or to this wire account? And it's very critical. And that's why there's been other layers from Microsoft, Google to try to protect it. That's why two-factor authentication, as Kyle pointed out, those things where when you log in, you get something on your phone.
Okay, hold on. Let me set that up. What do we do to fight back? Go.
Well, first thing you do is if you're looking at it from a technology standpoint, you set up verification methods, whether it's texting or authenticator app.
They're annoying.
They are annoying, but you have to do them because we got freaking creepy people.
As someone who supports multiple people, I hate them too because I have to log in and then I have to work with them to get logged in, and like it's a necessary evil that we have to do.
It really is.
So from a technology standpoint, that's one of the first things you can do, because if someone is getting into your system, not only does it notify you that, hey, someone's trying to log in, but it also stops them because they shouldn't have your phone number. They shouldn't have the authenticator app. They shouldn't have those types of things in place to do it. Now, the other part, and this thing Kyle kind of talked about, is when you start seeing issues or something looks suspicious, do your due diligence and homework. If I get a text or a call from my nephew, reach out to them directly instead of from your phone call.
Text his cell phone.
text his cell phone or talk to his mom or dad or like whatever your connection is. Say, hey, did you know so-and-so's got arrested? And they'll be like, I don't know what you're talking about. We're
eating dinner right here.
Yeah,
Johnny, when did you get arrested?
right, exactly. So when I went through my whole thing, my wife called the sheriff from another phone to say like, hey, here's what's going on. And like, I'm kind of going through the motions with this guy being like, maybe I need to be careful, watch out what's going on. And then, but she's also validating it from the other side to be like, is this really legit? And they're like, no, if this was really there, we'd be at your door giving you a letter or doing this or doing that. So due diligence, if it's suspicious or it looks too good to be true, do your homework, especially if it's someone you know, and follow up with your normal chains of communication, right?
Here's the big thing about, how do we fight back and what you're saying, due diligence. Here's the big capture of that in my mind that people, I think you can grab onto is don't be alone, right? I mean, how many times we talk about on Through a Therapist Size, isolation is not good. Being alone is a problem. And one of the primary tactics that they want to do is get you on the phone or get you in a relationship, texting you back and forth over months. But the immediacy is don't talk to anybody. Don't get off the phone with me. We'll see you all the way through. It's a classic tactic because they know once you talk to somebody, how long did you guys figure out the trademark thing was a thing when I started telling you about it? Adam, I think your head started moving before I was halfway through. Right?
Well,
because fear is used otherwise,
yeah,
and
but
I become fearful.
Yeah, to me, there's too much there where it's a possibility. Of course, I wasn't on the phone call. I don't know for sure, but to me, there's too much, especially when you say, oh, well, even though we're representing this person, we'll represent you. And I'm like, wait a minute now.
It's all fishy.
Yeah.
But again, in the wrong moment, I may not have seen that. And the predication of fear that is my livelihood with Through a Therapist's Eyes is going to get me, right? That's why I paid attention. Otherwise, I would have gotten rid of all those other emails.
Well, what if they would have, called you back a week later and say, hey, Joe Blow that I was representing, and we've had a fallout. And I don't
sure.
like this. So how would you feel about me representing you to make sure he doesn't get this?
Right. No, we already opted out of the SMS messages, Adam. They're not calling me back.
It doesn't matter.
I
if you
told the
opt
front
out,
end, I'm like,
there
don't
was-
opt in anymore. Like, stop that. Anybody needs to come to us about something. We don't need to opt in to SMS text messaging. Yeah, it's like, oh.
Yeah, just be aware. You really have to, like I said, I'm going with the company I work for getting acquired. I'm going through all the corporate training again, and it's all the stuff we have to be aware. And they do things like if you find a USB drive, don't plug it into your computer. Like, really? But it's stuff like that you just have to think about. And when it's something you're not sure about, you have to make the effort to pay attention. And as we've stated, not always when you get that phone call are you in a good state for it, because Lord knows what's going on that day. There's weird triggers they pick up on you, and it's very hard to do it. But once again, if you think something's fishy, if it looks like a
Check
duck
it out
and it
with
walks like a
others.
duck,
Don't be alone.
check the duck.
So here's the last time I'm going to say again, if you're listening to this segment, we're moving on to episode 312. But dude, this gets you, ma'am. This can get you. It's not all the other people that get took. What did you say? How many billions?
12.5.
12.5
It was 10 billion in 2023, and then it went up 2.5 billion in 2024.
Nuts. Adam, I got a question for you. How do you get rid of a habit?
Get rid of a habit?
Guess what?
I mean, I know
We can listen to a whole episode 312 where we talked about how to get rid of a habit. I'll take you off the hook.
No, I was thinking about that. I know there's things you can do to start a habit.
Yeah.
Like, they say do it 30 days in a row or whatever.
gotcha.
But I was thinking about
The opposite.
Yeah, the inverse of that. I'm thinking,
So the 3 questions for how to get rid of a habit, episode 312, was what habit have you been trying to change and why does it matter to you? What triggers or emotional tend to lead you back into that habit? And then what small sustainable change, to your point, Neil, a little while ago, just small changes when we were talking about health. What small sustainable change can you make today to disrupt the pattern that you're in? So habits, what did we do? How well did we get through getting rid of a good habit explained in episode 312?
I thought we did a really good job going into a lot of the different pieces that
Was
you
this
guys
just
can
Victoria
use.
and I?
Yeah, because
It was, wasn't it?
John bailed for self-care reasons.
He thought that we had another.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
But it goes back. What was interesting about John at that time is he left because he wanted to take a mental health moment. Even for whatever the reason was, it goes back to even therapists need self-care and need to be
We
aware of those
do.
situations.
We do.
So, but no, I thought we did a really good job covering it. I thought we did a good job hitting, some things to kind of help get to those points. I thought overall it was a really, really good show.
It's a question that you've come across in mental health more commonly, right? Like, I'm doing this stuff. How do I stop smoking? How do I stop these bad habits? How do I stop procrastinating is a big one. How do I stop dating bad people? How do I stop eating poorly? How do I stop fill in the blank? I mean, there's a lot of things. Now I let you think. You have any tricks, Adam?
Do something different.
Actually, that's not a bad thing. I thought he was going to make a joke. I thought he was all prepared with something comical.
No, do something different.
It really is. That's that. We'll go further with that because you're on point.
If you got something, how many times you heard this? Somebody said, well, I chew gum now because I used to smoke.
Yeah.
Or I keep something in my hand now, a pencil in my hand now because I used to have something in my hand instead of a cigarette. I've heard stuff like that before.
Behavioral replacement strategy. This is literally a thing. Yeah, it's funny because in my training on substance abuse, when I was learning about addiction recovery, this lady, yes, I'm going to say this on air. I was going to say her name, but I won't. I call her Hell Lady because she chewed me up and spit me out, man. I was a student at the time, and she didn't like me because I asked a lot of questions, and she literally didn't like me. But I learned a lot from her about addiction. So I appreciate you if you know who I'm talking about by chance. She's still working. I'm sure that was years ago, so she's old now. She was in recovery, and she took her wristwatch. Huh?
He did say that. Yeah, she's old now.
I did say that on purpose. She was
She
hell lady.
she's probably about your age now.
No,
back
she
then.
was my age when I was
So
yeah.
if she's old.
She's up there. But she went. She had her watch on her left hand, and she went into recovery and put her watch on her right hand. And for the rest of her days, she stayed sober, and that watch stayed on her right hand. It was just something simple, but it's a poignant, powerful reality that when you do something different to replace what you were doing, it solidifies a new behavior. So.
Well, it's easy to habit. I mean, this is kind of related, but kind of not. I have this at work. I go to the same place, 32 years, go through the same front door. Certain things you got to do. You come
Hella
in,
pension, though.
You come in, you do this, and this. Now, if for some reason I'm going through the front door and I get stopped and I go this way, I come to another door, I'm like, shit, I do. Damn it, I forgot to do that.
Yes.
But you don't realize until later at day because you did something different.
Right.
So getting out of a habit's kind of.
You know what that's actually called? Disassociation. That's a natural disassociated state. Sorry, I had to throw that out there. It's
Okay.
a science thing. Well, let's back up. Let's understand how habits form and how they operate, because these are really cyclical. So I got a really cool article that said that explained this, that you've probably heard before on some level. It's all about our brains. It's all about the way that we feel. It's all about what this does for us. Even negative habits tend to create the dopamine reward system. And we're all working to defeat the typical self-destructive coping mechanisms, but many habits, including smoking, sugar, buying stuff you can't, afford, they all involve dopamine and the reward system in your brain. So it's really a feel-good chemical that's transmitted to different parts of the brain with neurons, trying to make it simplified. But the first time you engage in this new rewarding behavior, it absolutely pops the dopamine level to a euphoric feeling. And that's why you get so bought in. So then you get the cue, and then you get the routine. You were talking about routine, Adam. And then you get the reward. And the reward is you feel excellent. Like when you do these things that create this cycle loop in the first place. So you get this rewarding behavior that creates euphoria. And then as a result, the dopamine releases and you explode feeling great. It leads to changes in connections between neurons in the brain and the responsible for the actions in that system. Again, I'm trying to dumb it down a little bit, but you got to understand, like, your body wants to feel good. And when you do one of these things, like maybe drink a Diet Pepsi, give me the sponsorship, Diet Pepsi, please. Send us some money. You feel good. And I did. I had a hunkering for pop, and I went and got pop. That's what we call it up north, pop.
Pepsi. Chris will get a tattoo of Pepsi.
Whoa. Dude, he wants me
for the right amount of money.
You want me to get a tattoo so bad, don't you? These guys. It's not going to happen. What do you think? So does that sound like new familiar? I don't know if I cited that out, if that sounded too confusing or convoluted. Does that make sense? Dopamine releases and
Makes sense to me.
I have a question. Behavioral or chemical, which one is harder to break? Things like I'm addicted to alcohol versus I'm addicted to this behavior. And the reason why I asked is because my mom smoked forever. She said the hardest part for her was the habits, that getting up, having the cigarette with her coffee, getting in the car, having the cigarette. Like, it was a lot of, there was probably nicotine and addiction tied to that too. But for her, she said her excuse, her reason was it was a behavior. It was the habit. I just would always do this, and going back to neural pathways, stuff like that. I see that. So from your standpoint, outside of the actual addicts who are those who actually have an addiction or addictive personality, what is harder? Is it more of the chemical side or is it more of the behavioral side?
So Carolyn Baker says, good information on fraud. Thanks, guys. Carolyn, you are welcome, man. Loving having you around. So, it's an interesting response that I'm going to give you, Neil. It's not really a cagey response or intended to be, like both is the answer. Because in my mind, they're tied together. That's what I was just saying. The cyclical reality. You have a behavior, then you get the biological euphoria, and that's your reward system. So that becomes a routine. Now, about my feelings and observations and training and experience about addiction. Addiction's a whole different thing, I believe, altogether. So 10% of our society has a very, very different thing going on. Very, very different. They get swallowed up by alcohol, weed, pot, drugs, pills, all that, or gambling addictions, eating addictions, sexual addictions, and online video gaming addictions. Those are the only things, those 4 behaviors and then drugs, that we actually have addiction to. So when you're playing around with addiction, that's a whole nother level, a whole different thing. We're talking about routines and patterns. Smoking's tricky though, right? I mean, I don't know. That's a rabbit hole. Write that down for the next rabbit hole. Nicotine addiction, is it a thing?
But I think looking at those pieces, and I think you kind of talk about it a little bit, but I think I see what triggers motions tend to lend you back into the habit. What small sustainable change can you do? What habit have you been trying to change, and why does it matter to you? I think when we look at habits, you look at those pieces, and this is something a buddy of mine are kind of looking at because he just hit 100 days of something he was trying to change. He made it 100 days. Him and I are talking about some stuff, but it's the idea of sometimes one bite at a time. You've said it before when you're looking at negative habits or negative things, you look at one. What is the one habit you want to change?
Make it manageable.
And basically at that point, you also have to look at it. Why do I want to change that habit? Because your why needs to be bigger than your habit. Your why has to be, I'm doing this because I want to, play with, of course, there's always the kid. I want to play with my kids. I want to be at my kids' graduation. I don't especially stop drinking sodas, right? So to me, in the habit person, there's either two things you have to do. Either have a bigger why or a bigger discipline or system in place to manage that habit, to change that habit. If you don't have one of those two reasons, it's going to be hard for you to maintain something when you want to take something out of the equation, your routine.
Let me reinforce that, because I feel like in working in addictions recovery processes, with AA and therapy and IOPs and rehabs, one of the most effective, what we call relapse prevention tools, which is somebody trying to get off of alcohol and preventing themselves from relapsing back into that whole cue and trigger thing, is creating a very clear why. I have found it most effective when people are in a moment and realizing this is my why, Neil. It is so profoundly a big factor. I have had so many people over the years with embarrassing moments, shameful behaviors, situations they found themselves in. I mean, one of my favorites is this really well-established upper middle class, well-known figure in the area years ago told me this, so I'm not breaking confidentiality. He had a position, and he came home from a major conference, major event. It was all drinking. He had alcohol addiction troubles, puked all over himself driving home. And he had to walk into his house, avoid his kids who saw him, ran upstairs, didn't kiss his wife or engage his wife, and just because he had puke all over himself. And it was just, so I have people, write poems, take a picture, create a song, or take the ticket that you got, the DUI or whatever, and literally have it on your person all the time, because Neil, you're so on point, and to validate your why is a huge part of changing this system, right? Big deal.
And I also want to add to this is when it comes to the habits that you want to change, don't compare your habit you want to change to someone else. It's not a comparison. Once again, going back to the study earlier, just because my habit is stop chewing my fingernails, where yours might be stop smoking, right? Mine's still a habit that's detrimental to me for whatever the reason is, and I want to be better. Or I want to change for that. So don't get discouraged when someone says, "Oh, that's great, you stopped biting your fingernails. I did that 10 years ago, and I stopped smoking because of this." Right? I think those are those things you have to look at when you look at your habits and your personal things. You have to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons. And once again, you can't compare what you're trying to do to someone else, because I haven't drank in 7+ years because it wasn't a big thing to me. Who cares? But other people it is, right? You can't compare it to other people. Some people can, once again, chewing fingernails. Some people can't stop chewing their fingernails. Other people, it doesn't bother them. So I'm just saying, if you're looking at changing habits, have your why, have your reason, and don't compare yourself to others. Be proud when you hit those milestones, when you make those changes and you've stuck with it at 30 days, 60 days, whatever those goals are. Reward yourself and be proud that you made this change for yourself for those reasons. So I just want to add that in, because I just feel like there's a lot of people that are out there being like, well, I just made this one small change. If it's something you're stuck with, that's a big change.
It's a big deal. I agree. I love that. Where else did we land? We really looked at increasing awareness about your routine, increasing your awareness about how that works, the whole dopamine dump and how you feel. Replace the routine, as we've talked about a good bit. Practice relaxation. You really want to be nice to yourself. Meditate, calm, do self-care, chill out, because there's a lot of anxiety in this sort of cycle where you're caught in, and it creates fear. And then lastly, you're saying rewards, reinforce positive behavior. So increase awareness, replace the routine, practice relaxation, and reinforce positive behavior. Neil, let's see how Adam does with this. Give us a good example, Adam, of what habit you'd like to get rid of for yourself.
Or ask Julie what habit you should get rid of.
Ask his fiance what habit. Julie, text us in.
I'd like to get rid of.
He's going to answer. I love this. I didn't expect this. Let's see what happens.
No, I can't. I can't think of any habit.
He's perfect, Neil.
No. I was
he
going
is,
to say there's nothing I can think about. I want to stop doing, but I can think of plenty of things I want to start doing.
Like what?
Exercise more.
He can't do 90 push-ups.
So then here's my question: what do you need to stop? What habit do you need to stop so you can build the habit of starting exercising?
I don't know. Stopping working would help, or
stop working.
Stop sleeping would help.
Yes. No more eating.
No
time.
more afternoon naps. Adam, sorry.
Well, that's too far, man.
That
don't
happen very often.
I don't get them either. I'm kind of mad because
I can stop doing this show. That'd give me another day. How about that?
Hey.
That's only one day out of 7. What's the other? What's the other 6
one day
days?
out of 7. I mean,
7. How about 30? It's one day out of 30.
We can start working. Yeah, it is. He only comes in once
it's
a
one
month.
day at 30.
What the heck?
I know, man. You guys were getting on my case about something.
Remember, I'm only at home every other weekend.
Okay.
So anything that doesn't get done during the week has to be done. Well, it has to be done during the week.
Okay, listen. This is Thursday, by the way. This is not through the end weekend.
Yeah, and I'll be leaving tomorrow after work, and I'll be back Sunday.
What do you have? Another lawnmower to paint?
No, I had to cut grass yesterday, which was a horrible time to do it because now I probably got stuff stuck on the bottom.
Yeah,
but I had to cut it because I couldn't wait.
We've been getting a crap ton of rain around here.
I've got a ramp I got to build. I don't have time to do it.
But I think it goes back to the same thing. If you're in a really good space in your life and you feel good in a lot of your things, great. But if you feel the need that you want to change, once again, if the why of your exercise becomes bigger than the problem of what you have, you would make the time and you figure out what that is. Do you just start doing push-ups again in the morning before you go to work, right? Do you start doing calisthenics?
I'm not either. What bugs me a little bit about that, Neil, to not really even to push back, because I love everything you're saying, but I think for some, I don't think this is you, but for some, it just occurred to me as I was listening to you there. How do I want to say this? People will sort of throw people under the bus and blame them for not taking it seriously or not, doing a good job to follow their own thing. I mean, we make fun of New Year's resolutions mercilessly, and so there's a lot of blaming that goes on, and I want to take the the shame and the shift off of that just a little bit, because what you're talking about is, yes, I love everything you said, but the dopamine, the reward system, the automatic process, the routines, people aren't even thinking about this stuff that they're doing. They're literally picking their nails, Neil, and they don't even know it. So I want to be careful about, don't shame yourself, don't blame yourself, and don't blame other people for things that they're doing, because that's just part of the human. It's how we get got. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
like you weren't saying that, but I just want to add that.
But no, I think that's that fine line, right? If you're doing something and until it becomes detrimental to you and you find that you really need to change for whatever the reason is, don't feel bad because you do it. Don't feel bad because of this, and definitely don't shame other people because of their habits. That's so many in society. We're so quick to say, well, yeah, I had this issue, but you have your problems. Who gives a crap what your problems are? You need to worry about yourself. You're not there to, you can't control them. You can only control yourself. And so once again, the same thing that applies. Just because I don't bite my nails and you do, Chris, doesn't make you any better or worse. It's until you decide you want to stop biting your nails.
What's wrong with biting my toenails, man?
That's nasty.
I do not bite nails, just so you know. Not my fingers nor my toes, to be clear.
Especially his toes. I know he wouldn't do that.
No, I got a reverse foot fetish,
I stopped biting my nails a long time ago when I kept pulling it and it would hit my, the part where it's in there and it would hurt. This was a long, long time ago. And after that, I was like, there's my why. I really don't want that pain. Oh. It took me a little bit, so I'm just, they get long and I trim them. Right?
Oh, it makes my skin crawl. Yeah, that's terrible.
Keep nail clippers with you at all times.
I got them right there in the corner of the
for your
office.
Toenails.
Yes.
You trim your toenails in the office?
I mean, they need to get done sometimes.
During session.
During session, so good.
Why so and so come back with an eye patch? Well, my toenail got a little crazy.
This is getting a little weird, y'all. We got to get out of here.
You need to break that habit.
Yeah, I'm gonna break that habit for sure. All right, closing thoughts, comments. This has been May 2025 month in review. We got some cool things coming up in June. One that is definitely cool. I need to get that set up, though. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Mm-hmm. How excited about that are you?
That's really cool.
It's mysteriously fascinating, but I got to get the time and date set so we can record a really, really trippy show that's going to trip you out when you hear about this stuff. Any closing thoughts, guys? All right, May 2025 is in the books. We're going to hit June next month, and John and Victoria, we're going to pull ourselves together and get our panel back. We haven't been together like all of May, basically, have we? For various reasons.
No, between the guests and then that last one, it was definitely crazy, but it was a great month.
Yeah,
great guests, great topics.
It was fun to have guests as well, so we're going to maybe have another one soon. Take care.